Yeah, Wyoming County. Do all the appeals. It's been. Capital place. Okay. Beautiful. I'm going to get the spirit. Having the spirit grow up. The spirit.
Pause that, Jenna. We're gonna get a back. We're gonna get a echo.
I guess who you guys are. This is crazy.
And then just toggle back to the Zoom.
We're getting the neighbors.
On the that's an icon down the bottom. You've got that there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it says we're recording.
Great, thank you. I think. Yeah, I think.
And, Frank isn't able to join.
Pardon?
Frank Baskin wants to join, but he can't get on. He was having the same problem I was, that it's the wrong passcode. I don't know why.
Oh, okay. Can he just call in or?
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna tell him.
Okay, yeah, you sound all garbled too, but.
Jerry, do you have your phone there?
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell Frank I called Jerry's phone.
Cause we're just having trouble.
So I have.
When, I always refer to you, defer to you when it comes to the Are We Online?
Give me a second.
I do appreciate it.
Of course.
I just wanna make sure everything is where it needs to be.
Yeah,
I never realized.
The icon with the red dot. Is that maybe?
No, see at the top of the Zoom.
It's making it a lot
Yeah,
easier.
got it.
You're good.
Thank you. Okay. We are on, Jerry. If whatever.
Have they got in touch with?
Sure, okay, well then he can call in. Virginia was having him call in too.
Okay, so he can call in.
Yep. Yep. Virginia,
Yeah,
did you get Frank? He's calling in?
I texted him. He didn't respond.
Okay.
You may have to call him.
Okay.
if He takes it.
Do you want to call him yourself? You know what I mean? Same difference, technically.
Oh, Jerry, you can put him on speaker.
Jerry's calling him now.
Okay.
Okay, you're all garbly sounding.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to voice it.
Well, then I'll stay quiet.
Take a nap.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you can. Yes, well, that's why she can't, she's having trouble getting on because the invite, something didn't go right. That's why Virginia can't. And then Frank told her also he's having trouble, so.
Did Jerry have Frank? Frank says he's on her phone.
She's on her phone.
Oh, hi, Frank. We have a number that you can call in on, and that way.
I just texted it. I'll just click that.
But,
Jerry, I put him on speaker.
or just send.
What, Virginia?
Did you get that
I was
number?
saying that Jerry would put him on speakerphone.
Right.
161,
Okay, 'cause it's
just
gonna-
click it.
It's gonna do all the.
I don't know that that'll work.
Right,
That's it.
It's not doing much.
okay, if not, just call in. That's why she's having trouble with all of her stuff too, so
Just put on speaker.
just speakerphone it here.
Phone call.
All right, Frank, we can just leave you on speaker if you would like to do that.
It's not just him, Tom.
Okay, as long as you can hear everything, if you can't, just speak up and we'll be more than happy to. Yeah, okay, thank you, Frank. Okay. Well, we have a full house tonight and we appreciate you coming. We'd like to start our meeting, the Borough Park Summit Council meeting, May 1st, 2024. In attendance, we have Mr. Destin. Here. Ms. Lopez. Solicitor Crowell.
Here.
Mr. Mitchell.
Here.
Mayor Kelly.
Here.
Ms. Kehoe.
Here.
Souza.
Here.
Mr. Shields.
Here.
Chief Yarns.
Here.
Mr. McPhee.
Here.
Thank you. We're gonna stand for a moment of meditation. And we're going to have the VFW and the fighters lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you.
Okay, everyone, please put your hand over your heart. And say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May be seated.
Thank you. The first item on our agenda is our presentation to our police department on behalf of the Park Summit VFW. If you gentlemen would like to take the podium. Chief. Here's.
I'm here. There.
Everybody, I'm Don Jones, I'm the commander of the VFW and Park Summit. My name is Corness Adjutant. I would like to present the police department with a check of $500.
Ben, you want?
Yeah, thank you.
Also like to have the Park Summit fire.
Fine.
Yes.
On behalf of the Abington Memorial Post 76-9 Park Summit, I'd also like to give a check to the fire department for the amount of $500.
Yeah, former time.
Not me. Also, I had to waste, I got my memory card, so I had to waste some pictures. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, let me do the. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh, guys, we good. Oh, thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you for your kindness. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Their agendas are pretty clear.
You can call somebody. My name is Joe Rabinski. I'm here on behalf of Blackwater County Department of Planning and Economic Development. to give a basic overview of the Community Development Block Grant Program this evening. Lackawanna County Department of Planning and Economic Development is the administrative agency for the Community Development Block Grant Program in the county. CBG funds are federal funds from the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development, which are administered by the PA Department of Community and Economic Development. There are 11 Talbot communities, of which Clarksville Borough was one, and 27 non-Talbot communities in Lackawanna County, Pennsylvania. To be considered a Talbot community, the community must have a population of 4,000 or more and meet the current minimum standards of physical and economic distress outlined by the Federal Urban Development Action Grant Program. Currently, the state is 2 years behind in their allocations, so the 2023 and 2024 allocations are currently not available. The information will be provided to the borough manager as soon as we have it, but again, we're 2 years behind statewide, not the county, and getting those allocations to the municipalities. Having said that, though, Clarksville Borough does have over $385,000 in the CBG program account currently, and the borough manager has been working with the engineer in our office to spend that money recently on some project ideas, which I was a little bit involved with that aspect. But again, there is the discussions occurring of how to spend that money. That's currently in the pot, until I guess you could say. There is quite a bit of money that Clarksville does have available currently, and we'll have more coming this year and next year as it pertains to the municipality. This is a highly restricted program, but the goals are to assist communities in preparing community development plans, address significant needs of low and low market income individuals, to assist communities in administering community development activities designed to address a number of community development needs, and to encourage and assist communities to focus upon and address housing, community facility problems, and to pursue economic development and commercial revitalization activities through public-private investment initiatives that will result in development and expansion of job opportunities within the Commonwealth. The part of HUD has identified numerous eligible activities. They include water storm improvements, street improvements, parks and recreation facilities, and senior center upgrades, including elevators, which we have recently done in the past. Eligible activities include buildings that have to do with general government, operating maintenance expenses, political action activities, purchase of construction equipment, purchase of fire protection equipment, and income payments. Once our office gets an idea what kind of project they want to do, it has to be one of 3 national objectives. The project must benefit low to moderate income individual persons, address what's considered to be the prevention of elimination of slums or blight, or the third objective is to address what's considered to be an immediate threat to the health and safety of the community. And again, how it works, again, all those projects go through our office first, so we follow them to our consultant, which then goes to the state for approval or modification. And I believe currently the borough manager is working with the engineer and our office to spend the current money that's available. And that's all I have. I'll take any questions or more than
A quick question. You said something about stormwater. Is that?
yes, but the area has to consider to be low to moderate in the individual. So if there's an area that's identified, I'll either survey it or it's identified by the census as an LMI area, which makes things challenging sometimes.
Right. So it's not just stormwater for the entire borough. It has
Yeah,
to be,
that area, that street has to be considered to be a certain percent, 51% LMI. And that's what we've done through survey. We have where staff goes out and surveys the street and does an income survey. If it hits that 51% mark, then that area will be eligible for work to be done.
Thank you, Mr. Ravinsky.
So we had a presentation last week on a concept to expand the facilities at the community center, which primarily serves senior programs. I don't know if are you familiar with those?
I have completed initial conversations that have taken place in our office and the engineer. We've had meetings almost the past 2 Tuesdays with the engineering firm that's putting together the proposal for that project. So that is in progress. And once that we get that proposal, that will go to our consultant, which goes to the state for either the yes or the no. That's a pretty quick process once we have the proposal. I also believe there's a door that's being done. We're waiting on a proposal for the door, which is a smaller project. I think it's roughly $3,000. That just needs proposal, then it goes again for the state review, and hopefully we get that going on soon as well. So I think the next meeting we have with the engineers next Tuesday, actually. Our our office and the engineer that's working on that senior center project, the community center project that you speak of.
So I think ultimately what, what we would be interested in knowing whether it comes from the joint rec board that runs the park. Is, a component of that project, because it's a very ambitious project in total. Far more than we have funds to support. But a component of that project that the ask would be of us to support, and would that be eligible, based on your understanding?
It depends on well, I'll give you an example project of Dixie right now. Dixie is renovating Crystal Park, which is a park in there. We're doing an ADA ramp, or ADA walkway. There's ADA accessibility. So that part of the project will cover. Can't do the pickleball courts, for example. We're doing the Blakely sports complex, and I just call it Mellow Park, but it's not Mellow Park anymore. We're doing the handicap accessible bathrooms. But that's only one part of the larger renovation project. So depending on the component of the project, whether it be ADA accessibility or a bathroom, yes, it would likely be qualified. That's what the discussions the current engineer's been having with our community development manager in our office. Yes.
You mentioned blight too, would that also be low income situations or that?
That goes to the state, that's a case basis. That has to go through certain review boards that we don't really ever get that many options, because again, apparently it's very complicated to get things qualified as blight through the CBG program. But again, it has to be, that's also LMI areas. Well, you are correct, it is LMI area.
One of the things, Clark Summit doesn't have like a rental, like office, like for rentals or anything. We don't have any sort of certifications. Is there anything we could do? Like, would that be something, setting up a program like that in order to provide?
We did look at
housing and stuff like
We did look at education programs in the past. I think one of the things we looked at also was doing some education programs with the gathering place, and that didn't qualify. Because they wanted to hire somebody to be sort of a in-person staff and pay through that program as staff, and again, it didn't qualify. So
Yeah, I guess the sort of the facts are is that there's some houses in Clark Summit that aren't in good shape, and I believe there's a lot of rental housing and units that have coming up recently. I don't know if we have the.
There'd be considered housing rehabilitation, and if the area does qualify, that could be done on a case-to-case basis. We'd be happy to look into that. If we have those properties, a list of properties, either the borough manager or an engineer gives it to those, we'd be happy to look into that area. We do housing rehab, yes, that hasn't done in the past, but again, usually the areas themselves are completely blighted, or whole areas LMI, that's part of the houses. That makes it challenging sometimes.
Right. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Does anybody have any other questions for you? Well, thank you for a very,
Thank you.
very informative.
I will, we have the current funding. I will make sure that everybody has the current funding available when that's available from the state. Thank you. Have a nice evening.
Thank you.
You too. Thank you very much. Do you have anyone else who would like to? What's your name?
Hi, that's Bella on Hickory Lane, outside. I was here, I want to say sometime in February regarding the paving on Hickory Lane, Hickory Lane. Just following up with that, are there any updates? Is it completely, were there any considerations?
Well, these would definitely be for our office here, that they have the programs as to where the paving is being done. It's kind of scale. So we're not familiar with it at this point because we're just getting.
I don't believe it's on the list for this year.
Right.
It's not on the list for this year. I know I did, Whiskey, Virginia. And she said she would forward it to council with that received.
But these are not ruts, these are our DPW did come and did blacktop them, but you said the whole road needs to be blacktop, not just filled with the blacktop,
This sounded very poorly, and I'm just.
If you want to check, we would have some more information, maybe tomorrow. Virginia would have some more.
I thought the determination for aesthetically finished, or like the safety or if there's still potholes on the road.
It's very
That's
uneven.
why we weren't putting it on the list.
Virginia, could you hear?
Yeah, I'm
Could you-
here, but I can't hear. Where are we talking about?
Oh, it's Phyllis Zampella, 1 Hickory.
Oh.
So
Yeah.
she's worrying about her road being paved and what's happening with that.
Well, it's not on the list for this year. It would have to be something that's considered in the future. Got to get with council over the ideas for next year and talk about it. Honestly, Phyllis, when they do the work, when they pick the roads, they're looking at what is the most damaged and the most heavily used and affects the most traffic and or pedestrians. And the cul-de-sac is not going to be one of those high priority roads. Doesn't mean it won't be considered, but it's definitely not going to be one of the ones that jumps out at us. You know, we have some that are very bad that are throughways.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. And thank you, Phyllis. We hope that we answered your question.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Do we have anyone, would you like to? Okay, thank you.
Joyce Delante. We have an ongoing rear 403 Manola Road. Do not have dumpsters, do not have garbage cans. Their garbage has been going all over our property, our neighbor's property. They're disrespecting us, disrespecting the rules. I'd like to have something done. I've called, I've texted.
What address on there?
Rear 403 Manola Road.
I am aware of it. It's a Stavala property that's been under construction for a long time. I sent a letter out to them. We give a certain amount of time for them to get back. This is the only thing I can tell you that I don't think people will realize. We can send the letters, we can find them, we can send them to the magistrate. If we cannot literally take their hand and make them do it, we can fine them and it would hit them financially is what we could do. And we're happy to do that. And we have done it before with them. Which, you know, when you go to the magistrate, you can present that this has been happening for so many years.
Right.
And then he would give them a time, you know, 30 days, whatever it may be, I'm not sure. That they would be able to work on this and get back. So I did send out information to the owner of the property. And I haven't heard anything back yet, but like I said, after that, then
They have 30 days to get back to you then, Jen?
no, I'm saying I usually give about 2 weeks.
Okay.
And then if I don't hear anything, then I send what I was citing them on, I send that to the magistrate.
Would this fall under the quality of life ordinance? Any fines relating to that?
No,
It says it right here. There's nothing there to accumulate rubbish or garbage. There's no dumpsters, there's no cans. It's going all over the neighborhood. It's going down into Center Street. Our properties are kept nice. We respect the laws and the rules, and here we're the ones.
absolutely. I was going after the Morith being a nuisance property because the whole thing is considered that. I can look into that more. I'd be glad to look into that. Because that would be an actual fine that we could give them. So, I could do that.
We called last year, it took almost a year for him to get a dumpster there. The snow was out. We thought we were done.
Yes, I
Everything
remember.
was good, and then
Uh-huh.
in comes more
Yep.
people to work for him, 3 apartments in there, he's
Yes.
rehabbing.
Yes.
And here comes everything all over again. Shingles that were on the front of our street, they're all over. Just garbage. It's horrible. Even the workers, they eat and they just drop their stuff. I had to call the police the one day. I was in my backyard, and while I was there, the workers were throwing it in my yard. It was like, are you kidding me? So I called the police and he came and told them, do not go on, do not throw it and go pick it up, and they did. Since then, doesn't matter.
Well, let me do that. I will do
Different
that.
rules, different rules.
I will do that. I will take a look at that to specifically cite them for garbage.
You told me you were gonna go and take pictures the one day. Did you take pictures?
I did.
Okay, because the
Yep.
neighbor has pictures, I have pictures also.
I can always give you my email. The more pictures, the better, as far as
I
I'm
have
concerned.
Pictures, and my neighbor sent you pictures too.
Oh, yeah, you did send them to me. Yes, yeah,
She
no,
did
that's
too.
great.
She just recently took them and she sent them too.
Okay, I don't know, what was her name?
Marissa could tell.
Oh, yeah, okay, absolutely, okay, absolutely, yes, I'll take a look at that, just cite them for that specifically, and then it is still a nuisance in general. So we can go kind of both ways on that.
He's so blatant. He goes and he stands on our properties and looks at the house while they're working on it. And it's like, he sees the garbage, he doesn't pick it up, doesn't tell them to pick it up, he just gets away with it.
It's so annoying because our properties are nice. He hollered out to his worker the one day, how do you like the house? And the worker said, oh, we like the neighborhood. I'm thinking, yeah, because we keep our neighborhood nice.
Right,
You're the one
right.
that don't.
Absolutely.
Well, I think if there are grounds to cite them under the quality of life ordinance, we just recently updated that and the
Yes.
penalties have been increased. So that would have some teeth if we do find grounds to cite them.
No problem. Yeah, of course.
Thank you very much for addressing council. Appreciate it. Do you have anyone else who would like to address? There are lights that are covered, and I'm just curious and I know you've had so many.
There's
you've had many-
construction, there's gonna be, they're working on the bridge.
We're gonna be resurfacing, all the bottom of the bridge underneath. One lane at a time. And because it's one lane at a time, we're gonna be able to go the traffic lights.
Yeah,
Will
traffic
that
lights
be
on both
permanent
sides.
or It's a temporary.
Stories.
Same.
The difference.
Function will it still be, will the lights still be there?
It is a temporary thing.
18 months.
It would be the state's in charge. The state roadway, it's all a state project, all funded by the state, so.
Do you know, how they're handling the crosswalks while that's going on? Because there's crosswalks going over both roads. And I would think if there's one lane of traffic going, it's gonna be nearly impossible to actually cross. People don't respect crosswalks to begin with.
I know they're put in the smart lights, and I know it's a smart one, but the cameras. I don't know if they have pedestrian crosswalks here, or I don't know the answer to
I
that.
doubt they're putting up the buttons to actually be able to
Oh, no,
to cross, but my concern is that traffic is gonna be constantly going in one of those lanes because people are waiting and then they're gonna be in a hurry. They're not gonna stop for pedestrians. That's my concern.
I didn't see, I don't know if they put crosswalk lights in there that would shut down and you tell you not to cross until a certain time.
I don't think so. I ran through there today and that's what
It's
got me.
worth checking out though, chief, and find out exactly what the.
I can ask, but
we're gonna do for that.
like I said, it's a 10-mile project, but that thing around in the Pennsylvania regs, so. But, yeah, I know it's gonna cause a lot of traffic problems, I'm aware of it, school district's concerned about it.
Sure.
And I just need to deal with it, I guess, that's how it is, I feel like we'll probably get, an influx of traffic coming down Athlete Street, Center Street. Well, Knapp Road,
I'm sure, yeah,
but avoid that light.
right.
Sir, do you know when this project is gonna start?
I'm hearing any day, but I haven't seen anything since they put the lights up, so.
Yeah.
I don't know what, what the exact schedule is, I get different answers when I talk to different.
Yeah.
I guess we can reach out, I'm done with this.
Yeah, they may have an answer. And then,
I know it's
and
gonna
then
cause
the
us.
answer, we can put that up. on
Traffic
the
will get
webpage
busy.
And find out.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because
Back
we'll have
to
more-
7, there's no lights there.
Yeah. Okay. The next question. The next item on our agenda is we already heard from Joe. He's already-
We're on to the approval.
Our public hearing for the ordinance 2024-02, a joint appeals board.
If anybody
Has
here to comment on that?
And council, you have the in front of you, so.
I make a motion to approve ordinance 2024-02 joint appeals board.
On the question, all in favor,
Aye.
all opposed? Figures have it. It's. First item on our agenda is the approval of the agenda. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
Make a motion to approve.
Thank you, Steve. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Wendy. On the question, all in favor? 6-0. Do we have a, vote for approval of the minutes? We don't have it.
It's been a little bit crazy,
It has absolutely.
so
been.
that has,
So
that's.
You're definitely excused.
There.
from that.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we also have public comments. Freddie, would you like to address council?
No, I'm, no.
Okay, thank you. Okay, the next item on our agenda is our police report.
Okay, we have, aggressive driving grant, money for the board request for $200. It starts on May 13th, and ends on June 2nd. So that is basically, we want us to do 50% at night, 50% during the day. And it's occupational safety, things with folks on seatbelts. And we'll be doing that. We're going to be actively doing the DUI grant, as well. And just, I don't understand why we're having this problem, but we're having a large increase in our call volumes. You can see the 510 calls per month, it 17 calls a day. So it's been really, really busy downstairs. I think we have the questions on the report. Yeah, I just, it's been kind of crazy. I don't know why. We have the zone which covers South County, Park and Assault, and Carbon.
Mhm.
Like we're,
Mhm.
we go over the departments of county. It's fault, it's our fault, it looks like it's on the same thing as us. Not real rad.
Gary, Phyllis had a question.
The high call volume, what are those calls related to?
Just various things, dogs barking, arguments and fights down at the donut shop. Mental health calls. Or I send volumes up a little bit too. But obviously, fraud complaints, and I can't really pinpoint a certain reason why there are more calls, but it's just busier. Run about 17 calls a day. Some calls are 10 minutes, some calls are a couple hours, depends on what it is. Get a lot of theft calls, with local businesses, stop and things like that. So,
Last week, Chief said, what's something?
numbers I received,
We all
that,
have.
on this, it would have that savings is, I would, great anchor.
It wasn't a net savings, no, it wasn't that expensive, I think it's about $20,000 for the remainder of the year. And is that, am I recalling that correct, Virginia? Can you hear us okay?
I'm sorry,
That was still.
to add a new officer?
That's right.
Right.
Right, with the healthcare, it was in excess of 20 some thousand. Without it, it would be, more like a savings of 3,000.
That's what I thought, and the officer that had confirmed this, and agreed to that, and but they also the union signed an MOU,
Right.
to that effect too. And I think that was.
And by hiring the full-time, then this would eliminate a lot of the hours from the part-time, so this would.
Well, offset
offset it.
there, I mean, and, hopefully it'll help. Hopefully it'll get amortized over time. No. That was my understanding, was like 3,400 or something like that savings, so I maybe I interpreted it wrong, but that was because he wasn't taking that out. So, you know, it starts, you, person start off 75% base pay, which is for the bargaining. And, we go to 90, so make them early, close to what part-time is maintaining.
Right. Okay, so, since we did get the numbers in that, I'd like to,
I just want to comment that I wasn't remembering all the numbers exactly. I am looking at the spreadsheet now. I like, Virginia, that you termed it a theoretical savings. I think I'm still a little skeptical about the overtime savings, for example. Because really this is just a displacement of part-time hours for full. That's what it is. It's not a reduction in total numbers of
Right.
hours. So
The overtime, all I could do was just proportionately go over what we've had last year, therefore what we might expect, but it was just a guess.
So, I mean, that actually gives me some comfort that it looks like we have a good chance to at least break even. I think the big question mark is where we go forward from here, because this is not a 8-month decision. This is a permanent decision that we have to make. And I just think we need to be eyes wide open about that we also couldn't answer that for ourselves, even if we wanted to, because we have a collective bargaining agreement that is yet to be negotiated or ratified that is going to impact all these final costs. That being said, I personally am of the opinion that I think we've kind of reached an inflection point here where we have to swallow a difficult pill and say, we need to figure out how to cover this. I personally am of the opinion that we need to do that. I just don't think we're at a point that we can sustain what you're doing with part-timers, and we have to figure out how to swallow that pill. So I'm comforted that it looks like we can come close to breaking even this year, but that is a pill we're gonna have to figure out how to swallow for 2025 and beyond. And we need to, if we're gonna make that decision, it needs to be with those eyes wide open.
we certainly agree. I know we went at length at our work session, our chief. And we also spoke with the officers that they are in desperate need of a full-timer, because we've had 2 that have already retired, so. Would someone like to make a motion?
I'll make the motion, but I need the officer's name.
Actually, I'm sorry, I would have to object to that because it's not on the agenda. There's nothing on the agenda today about hiring any police officers or anything like that. I believe that would be a major decision that would need to be on the agenda and that you noticed. pursuant
So
to
am I
the-
unable to make a motion?
I would object to it on that basis.
Virginia,
Virginia.
this wasn't put on the agenda?
I apologize. It was talked about, and I just assumed it was part of the police report.
Can we
That's what
include
I
it as part of
assumed
the
it
police
was,
report
too.
then?
Derek, would that be part of it, our police report?
Is there anything in there in the police report regarding that?
I don't believe there's anything in the police report about the hiring.
I think it,
Officers, hours worked, full-time officers, hours.
so I think Bob.
But now we're tabling it, what, till next month for GPR?
Well, Virginia, what would be our other option, because I know we don't, we're in.
The other
jeopardy.
option would be to have a special meeting on it.
Okay.
Drew, is there any chance that we could advertise this and reconvene?
I think that's possible.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you, I took a class today, I took a CLE class for an hour and a half with a big law firm in Harrisburg, Becker Stevens. I took 15 minutes of labor. And it was regarding our collective bargaining agreement with the police.
Okay.
And police contracts are interest arbitrations. Police officers and fire department can't go on strike. So they have a right to go to these arbitrations, which are binding. And if you go to the arbitration and you lose, that is your new contract for 3 to 5 years.
Right.
The big takeaway I took on this,
Yeah.
and this is what they said was, don't make a move that has a meaningful economic impact down the road until you do your homework.
Mhm.
We need to go, they set a blueprint, and I would be more than just willing to discuss it in executive session on all the things we need to do before we go in and negotiate a new collective bargaining agreement. But I think we definitely need to be aware of our financial situation.
Sure.
They are saying across the state, police unions are asking for 8 to 10% raises based on inflation. So I don't know what Clark Summit's gonna ask for, but if we hire a new police officer, I mean, there's a lot of variables. And if we get into a situation where we hire somebody, we go to this arbitration, we lose, we have to balance the budget every year. And if we, right now, we're at 29.5% with our millage. We can only go 0.5% more without going to court. We have the 4th highest tax burden for our residents in the county. So I think we definitely need to, the takeaway was, don't make a move that meaningful economic impact down the road without doing your. I think we need to do our homework before we hire and go from there. And I think they suggested having a 5-year plan. Looking at budgets 5 years, looking back at audits, look at your pension, look at all your healthcare expenses, look at everything that you have, and look at what kind of income you're gonna have. Because we got some money, got ARPA money, which we're not gonna get again. We've had some income that we probably will not have in the future. The real estate market was real hot. We can't bank on that. Again, we really should just do our homework. And then once we have everything together, then we can sit down and then we can hire a new police officer if we have the money to work.
I just want to say, I am of the opinion that I don't disagree with what Bob is saying. I think there are a lot of unknowns here. I think we need to expedite this process. And when we have all that information, we need to move forward and pull the trigger because we can't continue this way indefinitely. And I think everybody here knows, I previously have been opposed to the idea of adding another full timer. I've changed my opinion on that based on where we're at. If we can't do it tonight, if we need to, and I think Bob, what Bob suggests is prudent. We've just started the collective bargaining agreement. I think we need to try to move through that as quickly as we can, at least know what the police are asking for, which is which perhaps we can negotiate into the middle on before we consider making a decision. But we need to make this as soon as it's practical. Yes, our millage is 29.5, but we know from last year that 13.5 of those mills go to garbage, which when you look at a comparison table like the one that's in our packet, most all of those other municipalities don't include 13.5 mills for garbage in their millage. So this is not apples to apples. If you take 13.5 out, we're practically the same as South Abington Township. So it's not, you can't look at this and say, well, we already have significantly higher taxes than South Abington and the others because they're not apples to apples. That being said, I do believe we need to move on this as soon as it's practical. I don't know how quickly we can initiate the collective bargaining process, get the union's list of requests, and be able to consider that information, but we need to move on that.
The chief doesn't have that time where they're drowning. They're drowning and they're dying over there, and we have the power to assist them. I don't understand why we would go through that process. And I get the logistics of it, but he's not in that position right now. We're at risk of losing part-time officers. By the time we go through that, we can be in an even worse position we are now.
I know that being a former president of the union, this process, I've been on many arbitrations, could take 9 months, 2 years, sometimes even longer. So these things are back and forth. We meet next week. You look at the research, look at this, it goes back and forth. And that's just you know, I don't think you're gonna sell a contract for the month, you know, I don't think that's gonna happen at all.
Can I, think it for a second? Yes, you can, Frank.
Right now, under our collective bargaining agreement, the officers are entitled to a 3% raise each year. And that's. No, I mean, this is just, this is from Eckerd Siemens, this is from the CLE I took. He said, you know, I don't want you, effectively said, I don't want you guys all to take the bridge, but be aware that police unions are requesting 8 to 10% increase in raise, and I think he said 5,000 just on, because of the inflation. He said, be very, very worried, and but just be wary that you are there, this could be, and he actually explained it, you know, for people in private sector and government sector, it's a different animal, but this could be, there could be some heavy hits. You may have to pay more, and that's part of doing business in the public sector, that's doing, dealing with police. You know, you have to pay for that, that's the way it is. But I think we need to know what we're gonna do, because every year we gotta balance our budget. And I know it is suggested to me anyway, how we are going to free up funds. We can look at pensions, we can look at healthcare, look for co-pays, we can do vacation, we can do a lot of stuff. But we just do it on a wing and a prayer. You know, it hasn't worked for us in the past. And right now, as I said, we do have this high number. We are billing our residents directly for garbage. So we're doing that now.
Yeah, but it's in their tax base.
It is in the tax base. We also bill them directly too, don't we?
Oh, that,
For a
right,
portion.
but it's.
They pay a portion of it.
$48.
So. They can't go on strike.
They can't go on strike. No.
That's why they have this interest arbitration. They go to the arbitration and it's binding, and nobody else can do that. The DPW can strike, the employees that work here, you know, the non-uniform employees, they can go on strike. Firefighters and policemen can't go on strike.
Okay.
Like, I don't mean to stop you there, but we don't want to discuss this right now. We may want to just, you know, in the future, go over the details.
Right, we understand.
Well, procedurally, take action on this.
Try to schedule a special session for it.
Yeah, that's.
Well, can I just say though, if we're gonna, whenever we consider this topic, to Bob's point, it would benefit us greatly to know what the union is asking.
Enter your meeting.
Or the last couple of days that said they're ready to begin the process. You know, what they're asking for is not necessarily where we're gonna land, but we know we're gonna come in perhaps somewhat south of that. So if we know what our ceiling is, that would at least help us to have some information. I think the other thing that we also need to be conscious of is that if we approve a full-time a new full-time officer is also a bargaining chip from our standpoint. It is, if we hire that person before we've made any progress on a collective bargaining agreement, we lose that bargaining chip. So we may want to consider, and I don't know what we can do here, but we may want to consider an additional MOU about if we do this in advance of finalizing a collective bargaining agreement, you know, what gives are you willing to make to protect ourselves, given that that agreement is not done? I don't know what we can do there, but I do think, to Bob's point, we need to do our due diligence here and do this the right way.
We're gonna see what.
Let's ask them for what they want first.
Yeah, we're gonna wait till we see what they want. No, we don't intend to, Frank. Okay. That's exactly, that's our intentions. Thank you, Frank. Then, at this point, do we just?
Regarding that specific issue.
Vote on it?
We won't adjourn to just, have someone.
Can we convey to the union that we would like their requests for what kinds of increases they're looking for and whatnot as soon as possible? We need, we need that information to make a decision like this.
I don't know what, you know, I'm not in the union, you know, so I don't know their inside thoughts. They
Sure.
share with me and I generally don't ask. But I know they meet once in a while, I don't know what they're meeting about. You know, when I ask.
Well, we can ask them for that too, and let them know that we want to make.
I met with the finance committee, and one of the things I shared with them is my concern about the staffing is going to be here. And whatever company decides, we need to be aware of it. I'm not joking around.
Oh, certainly.
And it's not, I'm not exaggerating, it's embellishing it. It is what it is. We will definitely see the disruption of service to some degree. It is what it is.
Jerry, if I can say this, the police proposal should have already
It hasn't, yeah. That's what we're trying to get resolved now. Yeah.
Let's tell him that explicitly. Get that
We
to us.
definitely will be. Okay, thank you, Frank. So, Chief, if you could relay that to, sooner than later. We can get that.
Yeah.
We're definitely going to, resume with this. We're gonna do our vote at that point. We don't want to waste a lot of time. He knows how important that is specifically.
You need a motion on this now?
Can't.
No, I mean, a motion regarding the special meeting. That's what I'm
Do we
saying.
need a motion for the special meeting, Drew, or is it just implied that we're having a special?
Don't believe in motion. That's just go to the special meeting. Okay. All right. And then I guess it's gonna go on, I guess.
Okay, so we definitely are gonna move on this. ASAP, so.
Yeah.
Keep this pretty well.
Anything else for the chief? Uncle?
Right, thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you.
In quotes, we don't have any. With the girls' treasury report, we have a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
It doesn't look like we have a treasurer's report, but we do have bills to
Right.
be paid, so
No treasurer's
I'll make a motion to pay the bills.
We need a second,
Second.
the question, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, David have it 6-0. The full business, sewer report for April.
Honestly, it's a few lines and it's just simply, we're just getting payments, putting them in. So we'll see what, at the end of June is when we would send letters again. So hopefully if Virginia's back and if,
Sure.
hopefully we should be moving on that, so. Status quo on that.
Our trash report. for the first quarter.
Virginia wrote that up and provided it.
Are we concerned at all about the amount that is in more than 90 days past receivable? Is that consistent with?
I don't know that we want to panic over that yet because it's only one payment. Since we're billing quarterly, 90 days means it's just one quarter behind. So it's just, and they are in fact only one payment behind. If this number continues after the next quarter, we're definitely going to want to have to take action.
Ordinance 2024-02, our joint board appeals for pay cut ordinance.
We already approved.
The new business.
Hold on, do we need to discuss the pay cut ordinance?
Yeah.
We approved this, but
Oh, okay, you're right. Thank you. That the pay.
There's a few questions.
We do have to vote on our case.
Yeah, we have to answer some questions though first.
Anybody have any questions? We discussed this at our work session last week.
Okay, so right now, we haven't noticed this ordinance. We need to finalize the details.
Right. Yep,
So
with
the
the
question
company.
is,
I had a meeting, Virginia and I had a meeting with the company, and this is what we went over, and these are some of the questions, because we have a pay cut ordinance right now, which we send out at a $300 fee, and we send it out to the companies. It's gonna be all different now. It's gonna go through this company, IWDA, and it's a whole different system. So if that's why all of these questions are important. Take
So-
each one, literally each one by one.
and these questions are gonna be in the ordinance. So they're
Yes.
gonna draft up the ordinance. Our solicitor is gonna review the ordinance and make sure it's good.
No,
The ordinance.
no, the ordinance has been voted on. The fees are not part of the ordinance. They're usually done by resolution. So because that allows us to change them without having to revote on the ordinance every time. So these questions need to be answered so that we know how to set up our policy. They're related to fees, which are not specified in the ordinance.
So we're gonna do these by resolution. So we're gonna vote on them tonight and then we do a resolution in favor of it, whatever number we want to.
Correct. Tell me what you want. We can get back to Lou on this, and meanwhile, we can get draft up a resolution for the next meeting to finalize it.
do you have recommendations on these things, Virginia? Or is this a situation where we ought to refer this to the appropriate committee to bring back recommendations that we can then approve by way of resolution?
I sent this out to you guys. I don't have recommendations. I know on number 3, clearly, I think we should take the recommended permit application over what we have right now.
To me, these are the kinds of considerations that a committee is appropriate, and we have who decides our road paving priorities? I mean, which committee is that? This would fall there, and this should not
Okay,
be a
it's
big
public
council.
safety. So I'll send this to the Public Safety Committee and ask them to meet on this.
So we can vote on it, I guess, next time.
Yep, we'll put it on the next agenda.
Okay. Okay, yeah, that sounds fine because they can.
Definitely. You need water.
New business, junior council member, he has.
You go in the
Interested in joining.
Yeah, it's, and I think everybody has a copy of the email that she sent, the borough manager, and Hannah Siddiqui, she's leader, among our peers at school. And, I think will make a good fit, for council.
I'll make a motion to approve Hannah Siddiqui as a junior council person.
Thank you.
On the question, I think we're all on the same page here. We very much.
Feel that? Also 2 years.
We have a motion and a second, call for a vote.
Okay. All in favor? Okay, favors have it 6-0. Thanks again. Thanks again. And our
Nothing.
Next time we'll get this done too.
The railroad sale of land, I didn't know if you heard from anybody from,
I have not gotten any emails back. Virginia, did you hear?
Yes, I forwarded an email out to council. The railroad company got back to me and they've already got an offer for 75,000. So if we wanted it, we'd have to beat that offer.
What will we do with it? We got
Oh.
just use it for parking or something?
well, what we wanted to do is see if, Mill Real Estate was interested in purchasing this, because that's right across from their. We as a borough don't own any real estate, you know, that we would, it would be an advantage to us, but at any rate, I did talk to Brett, and he said he definitely was interested and was going to get back to the borough, but this was just 2 days ago, so he will be in touch with the borough to, let you know, they definitely have an interest in it, and what direction that they should.
I sent him all of that information on behalf, so he would
Okay,
take care of it that
so-
way,
so
not
he's
through us.
working on that now, right?
I sent him the information. Yeah, that's all
That's
I-
right, we did talk
Yep,
about that.
yep.
And so that's moving.
It wouldn't be through us in any way.
Exactly. Thanks, Jim.
Mhm.
Okay. Is any other council members have anything they would like to say?
Yes, if I may, just briefly.
Sure, sure.
So as I think, you know, I mentioned earlier in the meeting, there was an article about tax burden on local municipalities. That was in the Scranton Times on Sunday, April 7th, 2024. At a prior meeting, I mentioned I thought we were actually second, and I think we were, but now we're currently fourth with the highest tax burden in the county. I don't want to get on my soapbox. I don't want to, you know, point fingers or anything like that, but I definitely feel that this is something we need to look into, try to improve on. It doesn't make me feel good that we were in that high of putting a tax burden on our residents. This thing that struck me the most was the mean earnings for our workers in Clark Summit was $41,810. That's very, very similar to a lot of other municipalities in Lackawanna County. I think there's a misconception that people in Clark Summit have a lot of money and that, you know, the taxes don't mean that much to them. I think this article shows that people are in Clark Summit working hard, trying to do the best they can. So I would ask council to, you know, when we make a decision on spending money in the future, just to remember this and to continue to do the best we can to be good stewards for the taxpayers' money and do what's best for our residents. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, and I think, where we are in the stricter scale too, is the fact that this includes the school tax, not just the borough tax.
If you're asking, I don't, this is.
Yeah, no, you're right, Mrs. Perry. This includes the school taxes, which is high.
And our school taxes really bumps us up. And a lot of people move into Clark Summit because they want to get their kids in the Evanston school, you know? So, I mean, it's a plus that we are getting younger people moving into the borough. But to the taxpayers, they just look at, why are we paying so much? Our borough tax is a lot less, you know, than, of course, we have a garbage in there, plus we brush pickup, leaf pickup. There's a lot of pluses the borough does that the others don't, so.
I mean, I said,
But, you know, and maybe maybe we could put this on our webpage or something so that so people could understand what comes out of our tax, what they get out. A lot of people call the borough all the time, as Jim, thanking them for what the borough does do, you know, that they don't get in the township sort of, so.
I think, and as I've already pointed out, you know, this is not apples to apples. If you take the
No.
13.5 mils for garbage out of our assessed millage, we are quite comparable to South Abington Township, and there are services we provide that they do not. So if there's anyone, whether president or a member of this council that wants to see us cut our taxes, you know, please bring a proposal forward with what services you'd be willing to give up that you currently receive. Otherwise, you know, to me, this is just an academic conversation.
If I could add one comment too, the article said that the median average value of the home is assessed at 17,000. Our at 29.5 mils, 17,000 average home pays $501.50 a year for taxes. And I don't think people recognize that number. $500 buys them all of the services that we provide them. They're thinking that they're paying $6,000 a year because of the school and the county and so forth, but $500 is coming to the borough.
Yes. Our last tax raise was when, Virginia?
It was 2019. We actually raised taxes for the fire company. We paid 2.5% mill for the fire. I think we raised it a mil. But again, as I said last,
For the fire company, because right.
but last year our budget went up $200,000. So we just have to, I don't think it's an academic discussion. I think it's a discussion we always need to be leery of, and I think we always need to look out for the residents and try to remember this in the back of our mind. I mean, we're not,
But we need substance too. If you're gonna eliminate spending, where? I mean,
Yeah.
you have to have a substantive proposal for what that looks like.
well, I think, you know, we can talk about police. That's 30% of the budget. Hopefully, maybe we can work out something in the negotiations with them. You know, maybe we can look at healthcare. Maybe we can, try to figure out ways to save money. You know, as I said, we can't just go around selling our equipment every couple of years and getting benefits on that and filling holes or passing on expenses through bills on garbage to the residents. So I'm not saying we're doing a terrible job. I'm not pointing fingers. I'm not blaming people, but I'm just saying this is the facts. This is what came out of the newspaper. It doesn't make me feel good. And I think we can try to do a little better for our residents.
Okay. You too, thank you, Frank.
We are recessing, not adjourning.
We're gonna recess. Do we, or we don't have to give a date that when we're gonna recess to?
No, we don't have to give a date right now. We can figure out dates.
Okay.
And we
Well,
can get the
give us
information.
time
we
to get
need.
all our numbers together and then. That sounds fine. But they said it's so much better than we can get it together. Okay. We don't need you to adjourn. Thank you. And we want to thank everybody for being here tonight.
Bye, Virginia.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Good night, all.